We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Monday when you're listening to it. However, it is Sunday night when we're recording it. And we have Will with us. Now, we've had Will for the last few weeks on Mondays. And every Monday when Will comes in, I say, holy fuck, this is going to be a crazy week. Every week we do that. And this week, it promises to be even crazier than some of the
Yeah,
shit we've already
just
seen.
as I've said in a video, welcome to American Purgatory. We're in American
Yeah.
Purgatory. Every day is something that we have to be concerned about. Um, but I will start out with some good news because occasionally we get good news. I'm not a big hockey fan, but I remember the Miracle on Ice. And today was the 46th anniversary of that win over the Soviet Union. If you know, you know. Um, and at the first time in 46 years, the American male hockey team won gold against the Canadians 2-1. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you one thing, man, the Canadians were whipping their asses in the second and third periods.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
were
the game
playing
that
pretty
much,
well.
but yeah, I don't know the game that well, but I know when a team is dominating another, and if it wasn't for American goalie Halbeck, my lord, that guy was out of his freaking mind today.
If we're going to
So
give props to the men's U.S. hockey team, we got to give it to the women's too because
oh
they played a hell of an Olympics.
yeah,
They scored like 31 points and only gave up two in the whole run, and they won the gold medal. We watched that out at a bar recently here
yeah,
last few days, and they did a hell of a job too. So for both teams to win the gold,
yeah.
that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, for the women's team, same thing, beating Canada in overtime. The
Yeah.
Canadians, and the thing about the women's team, the Canadians and American women had met in the round robin, and the U.S. had beat them 5-0. Didn't happen this time.
No,
Canadians
it was
came
a much
out,
different situation.
and with this game, you're in Minnesota, so you guys are more hockey oriented. There was a bar shop, people at a bar at 6 in the morning watching the game with you guys. But I mean, okay, but I'm watching the game and like there's one point where Canadian player high sticks Jack Hughes in the mouth, takes blood,
Yeah.
knocks his freaking teeth out. Okay. Now, if this was baseball, that guy's done. If it's
Yeah.
football, it wouldn't be done. He would just be in a tent. They're not going to let him
Yeah.
go out with broken teeth.
Yeah.
Um, Soccer, they would be laying there. I know how that works. But this guy gets back on the ice for his shifts after the intermission and scores the game winner in
Yeah.
overtime. Hockey players are a different fucking breed,
They
civil
are
human
different.
beings.
They are a different breed, and I live in Minnesota. My wife and I are really big hockey fans. When I was younger, I used to do play-by-play of hockey. I worked on the broadcast team in '79 when the Gophers won the national championship.
Cool.
Several of them, two of my best friends from high school played on that '79 team. One of those guys went on to play in the Olympics in '80. Mike Ramsey.
Oh,
I grew
cool.
up with him. I grew up with him. I played sports with him, and one of my best friends. He played on that, and because I was a broadcaster, I knew a lot of the other ones: Neil Broughton, Steve Kristoff, Eric Strobel. I knew
Wow.
a lot of the Minnesota people. So, but at the time it was going on, I was living in Arizona, in Holbrook, Arizona, middle of fucking nowhere. Nobody gave a shit about hockey down there, but I'm watching it, and my because it's 80. Mike and I were sending a couple of notes, written hand notes, put a stamp on the fucker and send it to him.
Right.
He sent me a couple. I sent him a couple because he was sending me some stickers and shit. But but I remember when they won the gold medal. It was a big deal in Minnesota.
Hmm.
Um, and so the day they win, um, Mike Ramsey says, in his note, um, if you want to set something up on this day, I can do an interview on the phone. I said, fucking cool. I'd done tons of sports
That'd be
interviews.
great. Yeah.
So I go to my boss in Holbrook, Arizona, and I said, listen, I can get somebody from the Olympic gold medal team on the air, and we'll do an interview. You know what he said? He said, damn, That long distance is expensive.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I didn't end up doing it because he didn't want to pay the money for the long distance. It was just
Oh,
ridiculous.
oh God.
Maybe the
Yeah,
biggest sporting event in history,
in history,
and
in
and
history.
and they don't give two shits about it. But
And I remember in 1980, I was in high school. I was at a model UN conference. We were at the end of the conference, and there was a party afterwards, a dance party, and we were there. But the majority of us were watching. As you know, there was no live stream. They were sending it back in
right,
prime time, and we all watched the game. And this was in California, and it was like everyone was down with it because it wasn't the game; it was the Soviet Union.
right.
And the Russians, and everyone knew the reputation of the Russians all through the time. They were just basically pro players in amateur status. A lot of
Pretty
those Russians
much.
on that team became NHL players, really good players. But it meant something because, again, that was America, and we celebrated it. And even today, we'll celebrate it. Now, even with all the problems going on in the United States, that's the one thing that these maggots and all the far right don't get. We believe in patriotism in America. We believe in the Constitution. You believe in Trump.
Well,
That's your patriotism.
the difference between patriotism is what they think and patriotism of what we think.
Mm-hmm.
We look at patriotism as coming together and unifying
Mm-hmm.
and being proud as a group of our country. Patriotism to them is separating anybody that doesn't look like them and celebrating patriotism as long as you're white and you're not an immigrant and you're the right religion. That they look at dividedness, and we look at unity, and they're wrong and we're right,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get them to understand that.
But understand, and so it's a great moment. And then I'm watching the reaction videos, which I love watching right on TikTok. It's fun. The winners, the
Yeah.
losers. So we're in the locker room, and fucking Cash Patel is in the
Oh
fucking
fuck.
American locker room celebrating. Now, apparently, he is a hockey fan, but he took an FBI aircraft and flew to fucking Milan for the final, which I didn't know about till he showed up celebrating with the other American, with the other team members in the locker room. Fuck, someone gave him the gold medal for him to hold. And I'm
Oh.
watching this, I'm going, you are the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, that's not
This
something they
was,
do.
yeah, this, since it was created under J. Edgar Hoover, has been the most feared and respected law enforcement agency in the world, literally the world. Okay.
Yeah.
Has it done bad things? Fuck yeah. It has spied on civil rights leaders, people they feel are not right, because J. Edgar Hoover was that way. But Hoover also went after um, white supremacists, KKK. He did his job. Okay. Directors that followed him fell in that mode. They are very serious people, and they take
Yeah.
that job seriously. And then we get this hootenanny. I'm going to call him that because that's the only thing I can describe. Dude, they don't respect you. You fired all the major directors that didn't respect you, and now instead of doing your job in the United States, you're fucking around in Milan. Tell me an FBI director that would have been in Milan today. Now they're covered him from saying that he was helping out with security. No, dude, that's what agents do.
Yeah.
You're not. That's no. Don't sell us that. All right, MAGA may buy, but we're not buying it. And you did it on our fucking dime again. Our money being spent. Fuck.
This is just perks for these fuckers. They're trying to grab as many perks as they can. You got Christy Nome buying planes. You got Cash Patel flying around the world. He's got his girlfriend drunk in Las Vegas, and he has a FBI car take her home. You know, it's just sloppy, it's stupid, it's corrupt, and they're just blatant about it right in front of our eyes.
Because basically, what you gonna do about it? And I say
Yeah,
that because you probably saw this. I think it was Thursday or Friday. There's a banner hanging from the Department of Justice with Donald
I heard
Trump's
about
face
it.
on it, hanging on the Department of Justice. Okay. And the one thing I hate, again, with far lefters, especially what Johnny Bananas calls tankers, well, why don't the Democrats do something? Why doesn't anyone do something in law enforcement? Because the fucking Department of Justice is not the Department of Justice you and I know. It is
No,
not independent. It is under Trump's influence, and they're going to do everything either to protect him or go after people he doesn't like. That's why the DOJ is losing so many lawyers because they don't
yeah,
want to do this shit. And the interview is basically not, are you a good lawyer? Do you love Trump? That's a
absolutely.
fact.
Yeah.
Um, it, I read, this is how bad it is because we know in Minnesota, a lot of them quit, correct? Because of what
Hmm.
happened. Renee Good, Freddie. Also, the pressure is because there's so many habeas corpus and cases going through trying to get people out of that detention center that shouldn't be in the detention center. Quick side note, I saw they've been taking these people to court to try to convict them. Do you know what the conviction rate is for people who have been stopped by ICE for obstruction of justice?
I can't imagine it's very high. It's got to be 0%.
Zero. They haven't convicted a
Wow.
fucking soul, not anyone, because either they go, the judges look at it and go, get the fuck out, or they do go to a jury trial and the jury goes, really? I mean, that's what's going on right now. But they keep pushing in there. And the guy who shot the Minnesota legislatures, what was it, a year ago?
Yeah.
The former Speaker of the House killed the two couple and one of the others.
Right.
He's in court. These are federal charges. How they ended up at federal charges, I don't know. I thought that would be state charges. Okay.
You would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're in federal court for this. So this guy shows up, and the judge is talking to the Department of Justice, going, man, are you ready? It's been a year. And also, do you have attorneys to do this?
And they
This is a
don't.
case that needs to be prosecuted. This man committed murder.
Right.
I mean, straight up political assassination murder. And Department of Justice isn't ready. Why? Well, I'll tell you why, because they're all Democrats. And they're going to
Right.
fucking drag their feet because the people aren't humans, they're labels.
Right.
And that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with ICE. We're all fucking labels now. We're not human beings. Um, it, it it's just sad, and it's leaking out. The encounters with police, with people of color, are bad enough, but they seem to have been accelerating here. Okay,
Yeah, it
because
does.
they see ICE agents really getting away with anything. You get rolled up by an ICE agent, they don't believe you're an American citizen, or they think you disrespected them. They're going to do what they're going to do. We've seen it. Okay, and you have no due process. They don't have to talk about Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment due process. It's all a mess. We know it's not right. But in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a gentleman named Daquan Henry, Daquan Jones, I'm sorry, was riding his bicycle, and I guess he had a gun on him, or maybe he did. We don't know. There was a report of a man on a bike with a gun, and Grand Rapids police came up on him and they arrested him. And Grand Rapids police saying that they were fearing for their life, they had to shoot him, and they shot him in the chest. Videos, here we go again.
Yeah.
Videos from bystanders are horrendous. They show him being pinned to the ground. They sicked a canine unit. The dog is biting his neck. He's already handcuffed on the ground, pressed down. Handcuffs are. And the video shows an officer shooting him in the head, 3 times.
Wow.
All right. And now they're trying to cover it up, thinking that they're going to get away with it. Let me make this clear, guys. Right now, they're thinking they're getting away with Alex Peretti, Renee Good. That's going to come back to bite them in the ass. The FBI is no
Absolutely.
longer investigating that. The DOJ has dropped those cases. Okay.
Well, that's it. That's the interesting thing is whenever you talk to Christy Nome or somebody like that about those cases, they'll
Mhm.
say, well, we don't want to talk about an ongoing investigation. Well, wait, you told us you aren't investigating it.
Nope.
So that's not a fucking good answer.
Nope. And it's like, and so that's happening, and it's going to get worse. That's
Yeah.
You're trying to cover it up. People are getting pissed. But the other thing that's going on is that we've seen it, and we talked about it last week. That kids in high school are coming out and protesting against ICE,
Right.
and adults are kind of going, "Well, I don't understand it. How they shouldn't be worried about it. It shouldn't be political. How do they know about it? I know about it because they got phones and they have information, and they know about it because friends and family are being affected by it.
Well,
They
they
know
know about
about
it
it.
because ICE agents are sitting outside of fucking schools.
Schools,
How do you not know?
how do you know that? So they don't like it. They know it's wrong. All right. There's not, and here's the thing: there's a woman in South Carolina, a teacher, that's being charged with delinquencies of minors because she was teaching the First Amendment, and the kids said, "We're going to go protest in ICE because we think it's wrong." She says, "Go ahead." They arrested her for encouraging delinquency of a minor. That's not going to go far in court. It
No,
won't,
it's
even in
not.
South Carolina. Okay, that's where that's at. Okay, the schools don't like it. All right, let me make this clear. The boomer generation started as hippies, you dumb fucks. I remember that.
I do
Okay,
too.
the Vietnam War and protests,
Civil rights.
civil rights. Some of them died in Kent on
Kent
what's the
State.
true Kent State. So these kids are going out there and they're not doing anything wrong. They're peacefully protesting. But we've seen on these videos that for some reason this really bugs MAGA, especially the white males. They hate that shit. I don't know what it is with these guys, okay? The one in Dilley, Texas, he jumped on the kid. He got his ass handed to him. Seen a couple others. Saw a female influencer, thought she was going to Nick Shirley this, and got in there and started to confront them with the phone. And they said, "Don't engage it, don't engage it." She walked up on one girl and basically got in her face and touched her, and it was on.
Yeah.
It was on. They started to whip her. She goes back and she's crying to someone. So you should have covered for me. You're supposed to protect me. Now she's trying to spin it that they attacked her. Honey, we saw the video. Okay, you did
That's
that for
what
clicks and giggles.
that's what I don't understand. You got cops, you've got these ICE agents, you've got these MAGA influencers making these claims when we all know there's videos from every possible angle. And they still want to try to sell us on the
Yeah,
idea that it's poor me, I'm the victim. But the
right.
video clearly shows. I mean, no one can look at the Alex Peretti video and say that he wasn't murdered if they're not using
They do.
if they're not being truthful. I know they do, but they're not being truthful because
Yeah.
there's no way anybody with a average or above intelligence could say that was not a murder. And the same goes for Renee Good. They were flat out murders. There's no question about it.
I mean, so kids are doing this, which is fine. But the thing about these kids, they don't play. Oh hell no! These children are not. No, these students are not. So I was telling you when we started here, my videos usually, if I'm lucky, they'll get 200 views out on
Yeah.
TikTok, and I get it because I mean, my subjects can be suppressed easy. I don't give a shit. This is my opinion. Just don't let me hang on to my account. Thank you. But all
Yeah.
of a sudden, I'm looking at a video that had 800 views, and what the hell? And what it was is that on Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday, in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Small high school there. The kids were going to have a walkout to protest ICE. They were peacefully walk down the street. It's only about 35 of them. The school told them, knew that, but they weren't going to interfere. They told them not to. And so they went out. Waiting for them was the Quakertown Police Department, including the police chief. And as they're walking down the street protesting, he gets up on them and says, "Stop." You need to stop this now. And the kid said, "This is our First Amendment right." And all of a sudden, they turn around and start chanting "Down with ICE," their slogans. That's when him and the police force start jumping kids. Now they're saying the kids started a fight. Again, we see the video. Okay, you escalated and started grabbing to children. Children,
Right.
some fought. And I'm going to say children because students are still children. Sorry, guys,
Right.
that's the way it works. And they started to fight. Okay, of course they're starting to fight because you aggravated them. All right, so they arrest 5 of them. The chief of police got one of them, and the video and pictures out there. It's a girl. He is choke holding this girl. This guy must be 6'1", maybe 230, and he's choke holding this child. Okay,
Yeah.
so they arrested all 5. They're in jail now. Here's where it gets better. We're talking about cops thinking they're ICE. They have not been charged with anything. They have not gotten their lawyers. They haven't gotten any due process. Everyone keeps asking, why are they in there? Why aren't you letting them out? They keep calling. People are calling from across the country. People are calling the Quakertown Police Department, no answer. They're holding them for 2 reasons. One, they're trying to cover their asses because, dude,
Right.
you fucked up. And 2, they think they're ICE. Because
Yeah.
the sad thing about ICE, let's be honest, once you go into one of those detention centers in their system, you're kind of fucked.
Well, I tell you what's probably going on with these police officers. It's the same thing with Donald Trump and racism. I've always said racism hasn't really gotten any better at any point in history. It's been shoved down more, and people were afraid to come out and say what they wanted to say until Donald Trump comes out and makes it cool to be racist again. And the same thing can be said for police departments and other law enforcement. When they see ICE getting away with all this stuff, there are people in those forces that have been kind of suppressed because they think that way, but they can't get away with it. And now they believe they can get away with it because ICE is doing it. So it's not surprising to me that we would see police departments or sheriff's departments going overboard because that was their nature in the first place.
Right.
They were just forced to keep it cool because they would get some kind of accountability. And now they're feeling like there's no accountability because we're just doing what ICE does.
Now, the thing about that is also the point of my video that went from literally has close to 1,800 views now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll take that. But the point is, what I'm saying is that this is the beginning of the death of the cult. Okay.
Yeah,
When
I
cults
agree.
die, they die hard, i.e., see Jim Jones. All
It's
right.
not pretty.
It's not pretty. And we're watching is that these men or these people who are part of this MAGA cult, they react to these kids like that because they don't get it. They need to be right. They don't get it. You don't get it. You don't hear the words I do. You don't feel the power of it. And we're all looking at you going, no, because you guys are out of your minds.
Yeah.
And so the kids bug them because the kids should do what they told them to do. I am an adult. I have a red hat. You should fucking shut up. And they're not. As for the police chief in Quakertown, dude, let me make this clear. You can try to sell this all you want. I don't know if you're in an elected position or appointed position, but people are about ready to get pissed if you don't start releasing those kids. There's
Yeah.
not enough conservatism to keep these kids for what you did. And if there is, that's a sick fucking town. I just got to say it.
I will say this about narcissists. I experienced it with my dad. I've experienced it with other narcissists. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, but if you contradict a narcissist, that's when they lose it. And they justify saying, I'm a narcissist. Whatever I say must be the law. And if you disagree with it, you're going against the law, whether that's true or not. And, they're just that full of themselves. They think that, how dare you contradict me? And I got to tell you, knowing me as you know me now and thinking of my dad, who's a narcissist that didn't like to be contradicted, you can see why we didn't get along very well.
Yeah, I
Because
can imagine.
I was a constant contradiction to him because he was stupid and I was smart. Not always the case because I was little too, but Well, when I got older, I'd say that makes no fucking sense.
No,
And when you do that to the cops now, they think they're the ultimate authority. ICE is the
right.
ultimate authority. The law is whatever I say. You don't have a right to tell me what the law is because I'm the authority. And that's where it gets fucked up.
And brings us to the biggest shit show of last week and coming up. So the Supreme Court got their gonads, okay, and ruled 6-3 that Trump cannot have his terrorists because that's a tax on the American people, and that has to be done through Congress. His
Right.
justification through that whatever IEE bullshit was not there. There's nothing said about tariffs. And they said tariffs are taxes. And they've been selling this bullshit that Americans don't pay the tariffs, the countries pay the tariffs. Only stupid MAGA people believe that, and politicians.
Well,
And so that went down 6-3 with not Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett being part of it. John Roberts, do what he wants. And then you have the other three, because I don't know if Alito and Thomas even write opinions anymore. I mean,
no.
and then just they're making money, and Kavanaugh just wants to be one of the boys.
Yeah,
But Trump's reaction to it was exactly what you just said about a narcissist.
absolutely.
It was right to the point. He was. I'm listening to that press conference, going, "You have no idea how this government works. You have been
No, he
told,
doesn't.
even from the first Trump administration, that everything you say goes. That if you pin something, it's the law. Now, this administration, you've gotten away with it because you got Mike Johnson basically being your little bitch and
Right.
making Congress all your bitches and not pushing back on you. And the Supreme Court kind of gave you that leeway with the immunity.
Well, Donald Trump was worried about this. He was worried about it because he was
Mm-hmm.
already ranting about the Supreme Court before the decision came down. He knew he couldn't win this. So now he was going to try to pressure them into doing it his way, even though it wasn't the correct choice. Then Donald Trump comes out, and what does he do as a narcissist? Somebody tells him no. A little incorrigible child. You do not tell me no. He did what a normal child would do. He said, "Well, I'll do it anyway. In fact, I'll put a global tax on the world of 10%." And then when that didn't get enough of a reaction, he said, "I'll make it 15%." He keeps doubling and tripling down. He's trying to punish people for not giving him what he wants, and that's what narcissists do. And if you don't give into it, he keeps trying to do
Right.
that. But and I said this on a TikTok, I think the only people in this country that could stop Donald Trump from this bullshit and ignoring the Supreme Court and all that is the Republicans in Congress. They could shut this down. They could have always shut down at any time, and they've not had the courage to do it. But we're hearing now that a lot of these trade deals that Donald Trump was alleged to have because of these global tariffs now, they're saying we're putting it on hold. We're not cutting a deal, and that's what these foreign countries should do. It's a 3-step plan. They
Right.
should say, okay, if you're going to pull this shit and if you're going to pout like a little bitch, we're not doing any more deals. You want
Right.
isolationism? Go be isolated. Secondly, we're going to sell off your treasury bonds. Thirdly, we're going to close all your military installments in all these foreign countries. Watch people freak the fuck out then.
And they're already hinting on it. And then it gets worse because we know he can't do it. He's going under another emergency thing. Now, remember, these emergency things came out right after the oil embargo of 73,
Right.
72, 73, where we were screwed. We didn't have any way to react. So the Congress came up with a ways to react if we get stuck in that situation again,
Right.
because that was bad. You remember that. I remember that. I was living in California. Hell, I remember that.
Yeah.
So these are really obscure things they don't use normally because the world's changed. The
Right.
world's interconnected. The problem with Trump and the rest of his sycophants, they believe in the world that exists back in the 1920s, 1930s, maybe even
Yeah.
before. That world doesn't exist. Okay, it's all been, and that's the one thing that the Biden administration was there. They had a good relationship. Everyone, trade was moving. We had a good GDP, but because eggs were too expensive because they prices hadn't caught up from COVID, you dumb fucks decided to give it to this guy, who has
Yeah.
no idea what a tariff is. This is just
No.
something he loves this word. And now they're standing. Did you see Scott Bassett's fucking act on Fox the other day? Oh my God.
Wasn't he saying, didn't he say that the Supreme Court didn't find against Donald Trump?
Yes. He said
What
that
the
he could still
fuck is
do.
that?
Yeah. And then he was on the Will Cain show. Will Cain is a failed ESP sports reporter, but like most of those guys are real conservative. Now he's on Fox as a failed political commentator because he just repeats what Trump says. That doesn't make you a commentator. That makes you a sycophant. So I bet. Anyway, and then he asked him, "What happens if they don't want to do these trade deals you supposedly have now?" Like you said, and I said, when you have a deal or a treaty, the last time I checked, that had to be approved by Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making all these deals. I'm going, why aren't these proposed to Congress? How come Congress is not voting on these deals? Why are they not voting on these tariffs? Because that's money. Because, again, Mike Johnson has emasculated Congress. But he said, well, then we'll just look at embargoes. Okay, that's not, and the thing about it, they still think that they're going to, Trump said in that motherfucking press conference, I can destroy countries by not trading with them. No, dude, you're going to destroy us.
Right. Right.
You're
Exactly.
going to
See,
destroy
that's the thing
us.
is he thinks he has all the power and nobody else has any power. He's going to get blindsided. You know, it's one thing if we don't send certain products to certain countries, but when all countries don't send us shit, we've got big problems. We always talk about tariffs, and I think people have to understand what tariffs are really intended
Yeah.
for. It's not to collect money. I think one of the best analogies I can give you, and this may not be the only analogy, say America makes certain amount of widgets and China makes certain amount the same widgets, right? But China sells them a lot cheaper. Then to balance it out, America would put a tariff on the Chinese widgets so that there was proper competition and we wouldn't have
Right.
to and we wouldn't shut down manufacturing. That's what it's for. It's for kind of fine tuning. It's kind of balancing things out. It's not intended to be punitive and to collect money, but that's what Donald Trump does,
And
and it's not working.
it's not designed to create manufacturing in the United States. That didn't
No,
work. They
no,
and the last president that used tariffs was Hoover. But understand, he didn't do it punitively. He did it through Congress. He had congressmen, two senators. They put this through, and even though a lot of people told him you should veto this, he went with it. Okay,
right,
that went through Congress. He's not. This is a man. This is Trump who basically when he came in the second term, just still was pissed at Europe because they treated him like shit in the first term. They did. They laughed
right,
at him. They every time he showed up in international things, they thought he was a joke, and they said it to his motherfucking face.
yeah,
They laughed at him. So now he was going to show everybody I got the power, and then he kept that chart with all the tariffs. He created a problem that didn't exist. He created this to solve it. Like you said, I thought the Baron Munchausen by proxy was
yeah.
an great analog of what Trump is. The problem is those people, those women who do Munchausen by proxy, are really good at fixing their child. They usually don't kill them.
Right. I
Trump
should
kills
explain it.
us.
I did a TikTok on it, and I was comparing what Donald Trump does to Munchausen by proxy. And for those people that don't know what it is, it's a really weird mental disease that some women, I think it's mostly women, it could be
Mm-hmm.
men too, but where they intentionally make their child sick to, by giving them something or not giving them something, and then swooping in there and being the hero and saving their child's life. But their child is being put through all kinds of things, constantly being taken to the edge, and then they swoop in. Donald Trump does the same thing. He creates problems in order to attempt to look like a hero. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Um, Trading with Canada, right? We had the NAFTA, North American Free Trade um, deal
Agreement.
with Canada and Mexico. What's better than free trade? I mean, it's free. So Donald Trump comes in his first term and he says, "I don't like it because a Democrat figured it out, so put it
So
in
we're
place." So he
yeah,
comes in, basically does the same thing, puts a different name on it, and takes credit for it. Okay, so what? It's all pretty much the same. Donald Trump's ego is getting stroked. That's great. But then he comes back for the second term and he says, "That deal is fucked. Who came up with that deal? They had to be idiots." And somebody had to remind him, "Donnie, that was yours." So now they shut down that thing, and we got all kinds of mess between Canada and the United States and other countries too. We've got a lot of ill will. But then he extends it over to Iran, and we should probably talk about that too.
yeah, we have to.
He's going into Iran to get a nuclear deal. Well, they had a nuclear deal, and
Yep.
he shut it down. See what I mean? He's creating these problems so he can run it back in and fix it. He can't figure out something on his own, so he's got to destroy some other president from the past so he can fix it. And it's just so ridiculous and it's so dangerous for this
Yeah.
country.
And with the Iranian situation, I think the Iranians are going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I mean, this negotiation. Steve Witkoff is a negotiator. Steve Witkoff is a fucking real estate agent from Florida. I saw some of his takes on
Yeah.
this. He is not a diplomat. They
No.
asked somebody around. He goes, "I don't know why they haven't capitulated yet. We have our aircraft carriers everywhere." That's not negotiations. That's a fucking threat. It
Well,
doesn't
see
work
that,
like that.
and that's how they do it. This is the whole bully strategy that Donald Trump has always done, and now he's got the United States doing it. We're going to get in your face. We're going to threaten you, and you just do what we want to do. Unfortunately, diplomacy doesn't work that way, and especially when you're dealing with a Middle Eastern country, a very strict country, they're only going to take so much. A lot of these people in these countries don't care if they die, as long as they're standing up for their beliefs in Allah or
Well,
whatever it is. You
we're standing
can't
up for their
deal with them that
country.
way.
Like, I
No,
mean, let's quick history on Iran, guys. Okay, we all forget the Iranians had a democracy in the 50s, a
yeah,
real good democracy. Okay, the problem is that they wanted a piece of the oil action. All
right,
right, so what happened is that we interfered, did a coup. Yes, CIA did a coup and put in the Shah Pavazo. Shah was a fucking brutal dictator.
yeah,
Okay, went through to the 80s. And what happens? See, when you have a brutal dictator, people are going to react to us. They're going to try to stop it. If they can't stop it in democratic means, they're going to do another way. So they embraced radical Islam under the
yeah,
Ayatollah. And the Shah kept messing with Ayatollah Khomeini. He exiled him. He came back. Then we had the hostage crisis, and they came to power. Now, is the Iranian government theocracy a brutal theocracy? Yes. They have settled in. Not going to change our mind on it. But we created that monster too.
absolutely.
I mean, again, this is our monster that American Frankenstein created. All right. See Afghanistan, see other places. So now the thing you keep forgetting is that we're not talking about Iraq. We're talking about Iran. Iran is a very bigger place. These guys are technologically to an extent advanced. They own the Strait of Hormuz. If they wanted to shut it down, they could, which basically a good amount of what 1/3 of the oil in this country of the world goes through that strait. You don't want to get into a war with them. Okay, don't want to do this. So were they moving toward a nuclear weapon? Fuck yes. Did back in the 80s the Israelis bomb their own nuclear reactor? Yes, because that was a breeder reactor. They reacted to it.
The thing I have a problem with when you talk about the nuclear development there Wasn't in the early portion of Donald Trump's presidency in the second term, where he bombed the piss out of Iran and he says he absolutely decimated all nuclear capabilities. Now, this past week, one of his flunkies come out and say they're a week away from developing a nuclear weapon. They just fucking
God.
flat out lie. They weren't honest on either side.
Nothing like dusting that out from the Iraqi war 1 week away from weapons of mass destruction. I heard that one before. But the point is, like, we had the nuclear agreement that President Obama came with that was, and I think TJ touched on it, that was internationally accepted. The International Nuclear Committee were given checks. It was fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Trump didn't like it because Obama touched it. So when Biden came back, put it back in place, no problems with the Iranians. Notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, there was their terrorist thing. We had problems, Israel and all that, but it's not that. Okay. Did have the issue with, we'll get to the Palestinians later. I don't even want to touch it. That's been a fucking disaster. But the point is, he created this problem. Now, with the Epstein files coming out, the economy about taking a shit. Yeah, it's going to take a shit, guys. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. There are some issues. Okay. Don't believe the numbers that tell you. Okay. And
I do believe the number that GDP only rose by 1.4% when last quarter it was 4.4%.
Yeah.
That seems like a drop to me.
It's a drop, but but the mass media is still like, I don't know, Axios headline, solid job growth, 130,000, and GDP growth at 1.4%. And again, there were close to 6 million layoffs? How does that math? It doesn't.
Well, and the thing is, it's real easy. First of all, the numbers are coming from the Trump administration, so you can't believe them. And yes, even if they did get 130,000 new jobs in January, if you add everything together, we're still minus 50,000 jobs for the year. So we're not even into the fucking positives yet. We're still sitting there and underwater at this point. Looks like Will may have jammed up. Now he'll be coming back here in a second. The whole economy thing with them constantly talking. I can hear you now. Yeah, you're back. But what I was saying was that they can talk about the 130,000 jobs that they created in January, but if you add it all together from the beginning of this term, they're still underwater by minus 50,000 jobs. They haven't created any new jobs.
No. And he's been cutting jobs because he cut all the Biden infrastructure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. They're saying, well, those are just government jobs. No, there were government projects that private companies people work on. Carol Levitt announced that the reason that there were more jobs under Biden because they were all illegal aliens. I swear to fucking God. I mean, it's ridiculous. I know. She stood there, and the first thing she said, everything I say is true because I'm saying it.
Right.
I mean, all illegal immigrants had the jobs. That's why they were higher. Blamed illegal immigrants for a bunch. It was just shocking. And the worst thing about it, the press never questioned her. Never brought out fucking real facts. They just kissed their asses.
And the press has really failed us.
But here we are now. It's starting to rumble. I think the reason that they haven't moved, that hasn't attacked Iran yet, that a lot of people in the Pentagon don't want to fuck with this. There's still some soldiers down there. Okay. And now,
what do you think? What do you think about the idea? Part of the reason we want to attack Iran isn't so much that we want to attack Iran. That Benjamin Netanyahu wants us to attack Iran, and he's putting the pressure on Donald Trump.
That's a factor. There's another fact. Yeah, that's a factor because Netanyahu needs war to keep his phony baloney job. His own. Right. I mean, he's running. God forbid me for about to say that he's running out of Palestinians to kill.
Yeah,
because he's actually committing a genocide in front of us, and all you tankers and fucking far lefters talking about Kamala Harris and genocide, go fuck yourself. We're watching one now, and you're still not acknowledging it. Okay.
And Kamala has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it. Okay. God damn. Anyway, going back to this, that's part of it. That's giving him oomph. But a couple things I've heard that's going on. One is a distraction. Two, he likes playing with his toys.
Yeah.
He considers the military his toys. But another report came out was that Trump wants to be the president that brings down the theocracy in Iran. He wants to be the one that causes regime change, where he can break the theocracy in Iran, and it'll be his legacy. That he was the one that ended Iran theocracy and the Ayatollahs. That's horrible thinking for him.
Well, it's
for
horrible
us.
thinking, and it's not really feasible, certainly in the time frame he would need to get it done. I mean, if you think Afghanistan was a quagmire, we sat there for 20 years until we finally pulled out. You don't think it's going to be any different with Iran? It may be worse with Iran.
Because they're talking about minimal strike and then more involvement later. They really believe in that White House. Pete Hegseth, who was at a prayer breakfast, whatever that was, some evangelical event, I saw that and it was just like, you're the Secretary of Defense. What the fuck are you doing this? It
Yeah,
has nothing to
exactly.
do with the defense of this. But anyway, he is down with it because he wants to play with his toys. And they truly believe that the American military is so feared that as soon as they start bombing, as Steve Witkoff said, they'll capitulate and quit. No,
You don't know Iran very well if you think they're going to
no,
capitulate.
they have.
If they're fighting, they're going to be all in.
And the thing about it is, the only way you're going to do it is if you want to go ahead and just turn the whole place into glass. Is
Yeah.
that what you want to do? I hope not, because the idea of just a few bombing sites and then also the only other thing you're going to do is put boots on the ground, and I don't think Americans want that. I know
No,
they don't.
no. You know, somebody else, a couple of other things that people have said, and I don't know if they're true. Netanyahu wanting us to attack Iran so bad, basically going to America and saying, listen, if you don't go in there and fight, we're going to start dropping nuclear bombs in there as an indictment or enticement to get America involved. And then there's the crazy theory.
How's that not crazy? But go ahead.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's not the craziest one. The other crazy one is, and I've said this on the show before, and I keep saying it, and I want people to understand, I don't know that it's real. I suspect it's not real. But when Donald Trump's involved, you have to consider it. The theory is that Benjamin Netanyahu needed a certain amount of leverage over Donald Trump. And he may or may not have a certain amount of Epstein file evidence against Donald Trump. And he's saying, listen, you either attack him or we're going to let this loose. But the other theory is that maybe Iran has it too. So he's kind of in a pickle here. Iran's saying, if you do this, we're going to do that. And Israel's doing the same thing. And for Donald Trump to put himself in a corner where there's no way out, that would not at all be surprising.
It wouldn't be. I think I don't know. And I think TJ was right yesterday. That's a concern. Because I don't know. This man is basically demented. He's desperate.
Yeah.
He feels right now at this point slighted by people who should have had his back. And
Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court. People aren't responding to him well. He was supposed to go to, we're talking about Kash Patel. He was supposed to go to Milan for the hockey game. And he was talked out of it by his staff because you got other things to talk about. No, again, like the Trump White House will leak like a sieve. No, they were afraid of the reaction. They were bad enough. They were protesting in Milan for some ICE agents that were there. Trump showed up. Holy shit.
He didn't go to Super Bowl either. He didn't go to Super Bowl either.
Yeah, he didn't go there.
He would normally have done that.
But also, you have to look at health-wise. He hasn't played golf, close to 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah.
He hasn't played golf at all. He isn't looking good. He's looking paler and more gaunt. I saw him. In addition to that one, he was at the governor's. He had a governor's meeting. Well, only Republican governors invited. I mean, the real meeting they canceled because they didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But he just sounded so weak and just the same bullshit. But the worst thing about it was, and I noticed it, he's sitting in front of a podium. Now, most time when you sit, president's on the podium, the presidential seal's on the podium.
Right.
That means because you're the president of the United States.
Right.
There was some kind of weird ass Nazi bird gold on this podium.
Really?
And people will say, well, what does that matter? It matters to me. That tells me there's something inherently wrong going on in that place, that they don't even acknowledge the connection to the Republic anymore. It's not the American Republic. It's the Trump, dynasty?
Yeah.
Because when they always talk about patriotism and patriotism and all that, being an American, Russell Carr, the editor of the FCC, just made an announcement. He sent letters to like networks talking about they should do PSAs, patriotic PSAs, talking about, what is it to be a patriot, which is basically saying, yeah, you need to hype up the 250th anniversary for Trump and use the Trump agenda. That was a request. I give it another, by mid-March, they were going to require people to do that. And it'll have to be approved. This is where we're at with these idiots.
I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, because this may be one of the most pathetic, most deranged things we've heard in a long time.
You mean since yesterday?
As of yesterday, or Sunday. Some people might remember the stories from back in the 80s or whatever, and Donald Trump would occasionally show up on the Forbes top 10 or top 100 richest people. And one year he wasn't going to show up in it because he was a fake billionaire. And this really got under Donald Trump's skin. He wanted to be on that list. That was important to him, kind of like the 2020 election. He was fixated on it. He was angry about it. So he called up Forbes using an alias named John Burroughs. And he was calling allegedly from the Trump organization, trying to pressure and push Forbes to actually put Donald Trump on the list. But he played this role, cosplay John Burroughs. Okay, that was fucked up. That was pathetic. That was weird. Yesterday, on Sunday, we hear a report that C-SPAN is doing what they do, and they were talking about the tariffs and the Supreme Court and stuff. There was a call. John from Virginia. They pick up the phone, and he says, "Yeah, this is John Burroughs," and he goes on to talk about how the Supreme Court decision was the worst in the world, and he was making fun of Schumer, and he sounded just like Donald Trump. He's using his former alias. It sounds like Donald Trump. And he's calling the president of the United States, probably sitting in the Oval Office, is calling C-SPAN to play off like some other person doesn't like it. Now, if you had anything going for you, somebody else probably would have done it. You wouldn't have had to do it. But it was so pathetic. And some people have said to me, what if it's just a guy? What if it's just a guy imitating him? And I listened to it. It sounded a little different than him, but it sounded more like he was trying to disguise his voice as opposed to somebody trying to sound him like it. If it was somebody trying to sound like him, it would have been more cartoonish.
Yes.
And it wasn't cartoonish. It was kind of him, but pulled back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still talking the way he did. But to me, that's one of the most embarrassing, knowing that he's terrified that he has to do something like this.
Yeah, I heard that. And I started to hear it. I'm going, oh shit. And that's basically, what's he doing in that office now? I got a feeling they do not talk to him. They don't show him. They don't come to him unless they want him to do something. I think he literally sits there and just watches TV or Fox or whatever, or listens to stuff, goes through his phone. and then freaks out later on. But he doesn't handle government business because he just can't handle government business. They don't let him handle government business. They don't
No,
want
I
him
don't
to.
think so. I was reading something today or watching something today, and they were talking about it. He gets up at like 11. He gets up at like 11 in the morning. He goes, has breakfast, whatever the fuck he does. He gets hosed down because he's no doubt full of shit from the night. And he goes down. And then from like 2 or 3 to 5, he's watching the TV news to get all his information. So from 11, 12 to 2, he might do some business stuff, but I don't even know that he knows what to do. So, no, he doesn't accomplish anything. He's just
No,
some guy, some old grandpa roaming around bumping into things while people are trying to keep it together and make the decisions for him.
I mean, it's going back to that governor's dinner. He's talking about the fucking ballroom again. I mean, he took out East Wing for nothing. I mean,
That ballroom's not going to get built. I
no,
guarantee it's not going to get built.
and we're going to East Wing will be built eventually again. Hopefully, I don't know what he did with all the art and stuff that was in there, but he, and it's I don't know what to. It's sad to see this because everything's falling apart at a time it shouldn't fall apart.
Right.
Um, they're not doing their jobs. They're not watching the country. They're not doing what they need to do for us because they're too busy playing toward things that don't exist anymore. The reason the Republicans are freaked out about the elections is that people said no. They're tired of this shit. People are really
Yeah.
getting tired, even in red areas, because it's not only the economy, but the constant thing of ICE. They didn't expect that. Oh, you did. You voted for it, but you didn't think you'd do this. To be
Right.
honest, um, the whole thing about the warehousing of people, which they're buying these warehouses at 4 times the price. Okay, they're some places are stopping them. They couldn't stop it here in Social Circle, Georgia, which is down the street from me, because it
Right.
was a private sale, or they lied. I don't know. Where are you gonna? What is with warehousing these people? How are you gonna? It's just you don't have enough. It's just like all these things are starting to wear on the American people. That's why the polls are what they are. And we know that they're going to try to. The one thing I hate is that everyone is trying to convince everyone that Trump is going to stop the midterm elections. I mean, or do something to stop the midterm elections. That is not going to happen. And
No.
I'm at fucking ground zero here near Fulton County here in Georgia. I'm on 40 miles east of Atlanta. Okay.
Right.
And Fulton County, believe it or not, are not only fighting Trump, but they're fighting the state dome, the Golden Dome, or the state capitol, which is Atlanta too,
Yeah.
because Republicans in this state want control of Fulton County. Fulton County is majority black. Fulton County is important to them. And they're
Yeah.
not going to get it because people keep saying, well, he's going to access all your voter rolls. He got fucking shit 6 years ago. Okay. Well, they're going
Right.
to say there was fraud. There's no fraud. That's all been proved. They're going back to the same stuff of foreign interference. No, Nick Shirley isn't going to save them. Couldn't even do that in fucking California. Kiss my ass, dude.
No.
He's gonna open the wrong door someday.
Yeah.
Just saying. Um, and so it's gonna happen. Are they gonna fuck with mail-in voting? Probably. I would recommend you do early voting in person. They can't
Right.
stop you from do that. I suggest you check your registration. I'm going to do that tomorrow just to make sure I'm still registered. Because I voted in the presidential election doesn't mean you can lose your registration. But do not give into that. They're going to send all these people there. No, they're not. He can't do it. It's impossible. And if you
Enough
start
people.
getting, yeah, not enough people, and also you start messing with people's votes and voters, they're going to get mad. Really get mad.
Well, people think they're going to send ICE agents to the polling stations and they're going to intimidate people. Well, they sent 3,000 ICE agents here to Minneapolis. Nobody was intimidated here.
No, I mean it costs. The problem with that, and I've seen that the economic cost of Minneapolis is bad. I
Yeah.
mean, people were shut down. It's tough. I get it, and they still haven't pulled back. They haven't pulled back
No.
because Trump needs it. They need it. They need something. Um, but eventually, they're going to run out of money. Quick note to Christy Nome. See, this is now going to become the DHS shutdown, and Democrats are staying put for now. The reason that they brought down the last shutdown was because the holidays were coming up, and the airlines TSA wasn't getting their money, so the airlines pressed on Schumer and Jeffries to move forward because they needed their holiday money.
Yeah.
So Christy Nome came up with this idea today. Hey, yeah, we don't have money. We're going to for all the agents, we're going to shut down the pre-checks.
That's pissing people off.
But I'm thinking, going, as one person said, I'm sorry, you don't have enough money for agents, but you already have people pre-checked. Why push them in the line? That takes the relief off them. Now, apparently, they're saying that's not happening, but that is what they're going to do. They're going to do political stuff because they don't want ICE controlled.
Right.
Now, will the Democrats abolish ICE at this point? No. Hakeem Jeffries was with Joyce Reed, and he avoided that question like the fucking plague. Okay, because they're still under this impression that will say that Democrats are weak on immigration. That's not true. We just don't. Most just don't want a untrained force that does not follow the Constitution with weapons who are killing people not only in Minnesota, Savannah, Georgia. Try to do a traffic stop.
I heard about that.
Chased this guy into Lisa Jones, an elementary school teacher. She died. Also found out ICE didn't let EMS in there for a half fucking hour.
Yeah.
Because they were too busy trying to cover their shit. Apparently, they did murder someone in March in Texas. They're trying to find that out. And God knows how many bodies they're going to find in those detention centers in their yards later on.
I keep thinking,
that's what
I'm keep thinking about when it won't be as many, but I keep thinking about those horrible movies you saw when we were in high school about the Holocaust, the piles of bodies and shit like that. I'm hoping to God we don't see something like that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, all you have to do is saw what happened, what Canada went through with the indigenous schools. When they started digging up the back of those schools, how many bodies of indigenous people they found?
Yeah.
That was done almost a century ago. I mean, what is going on against people of color or people don't like is going on right now is not new. But there will be a reckoning. And I'm sorry, TJ, there will be a reckoning. Okay. I heard what he said. So I'll take offense.
Which one?
He was talking about he doesn't think there'll be tribunals. You don't think?
I don't think. I don't. Yeah, I don't think he was saying there isn't going to be accountability. He just didn't know how logistically you turn it into a tribunal.
And it's been done logistically before, after every regime has died. Okay.
Yeah.
The most recent one was this South African apartheid regime. When it fell apart and they went back to review, it was a separate tribunals, and they dragged everyone across. Okay, and a lot of men had to answer for the crimes they committed, and we can do the same. I'm not saying put it outside the justice system, but the justice system cannot handle this, and it's got to be. And also, these crimes are being labeled as crimes against humanity. Doesn't mean that American cannot try you for that. It all's the same. Murder is murder. And the point I'm saying that it's going to happen because people are going to demand it. People are going to demand it.
Well, and TJ was saying, well, that's more for international stuff. And honestly, when you look at possible criminality here, there is a lot of international stuff, whether it be bombing boats off the coast of Venezuela, whether it be shipping people to third world countries and putting them in detention centers, whether it be talking shit about Greenland or the tariffs. All of this stuff is international. So if that's what you need to do a tribunal, there's enough international activity that we could get some.
And the point I'm saying, we're going to get there. Right now, we got to figure out what we're going to do now. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see all this abuse. We see it on video. All those people taping it. That's evidence that they're
Yeah.
not going to get around. Okay. Sorry, guys. You think that you're hot shit now? Not going to work. I see people talking to these ice agents. Ice agents talking all, standing there all, what are you going to do? Don't worry. Don't worry. It's
That's
coming.
it. I get a kick out of when we hear about how the federal government isn't going to share evidence with Minnesota uh, regarding the Renee Good and the Alex Preddy murder. So what? We've got like 20 different videos of every event
I
from all
know.
different angles. We've got at least 100 witnesses there. That's a pretty good case without any other bullshit that they don't want to give us. There's enough evidence to
Yeah, I
indict
know.
somebody. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing that because the FBI and DOJ are shot. I mean, you've seen what they're doing with Epstein. The
Yeah.
FBI is covering. They're trying to go after people who talk about ICE. Good luck with that. I mean, we do that every day. We're going to drag everyone. There are hundreds of millions of people doing that. What are you going to do? You
Yeah.
can't. In your court cases are dying. We already talked about earlier.
Well,
I
they
mean,
make threats to get people to be afraid and then back off.
I mean,
They can't do everything, and that's why I keep telling people: if you're afraid, then they won. So stop
yes.
it.
And we're not. And that's the thing. I watched some confrontations in Los Angeles with ICE agents, and they were pointing. One lady, they're pointing a gun at that lady, a small Hispanic woman. She looked him right in the eye. He had his weapon on her forehead,
Yeah,
and it wasn't a gas. It wasn't like non-lethal. It was lethal. And
yeah.
he looked her in the eye, and she backed up. Another guy insulted him, going, "I don't care." He goes, "Oh." The guy reached for his gun and go, "I don't care. I'll die for this bitch." That's the thing. They don't. The people are frustrated because when they take people, they want to jump on them, but they're afraid of the reaction. And I'm saying that
Yeah.
they couldn't stop it, but they're afraid of what's going to happen next when they escalate to the next point. I get it. They want to. The peaceful protests are going, but I don't know how long that's going to last. I really don't know how long that's going to last. Probably not
It's
going to
it's
last long.
hard, it's hard to say. One of the areas I want to get to because
Mm,
tomorrow is a big day, maybe. Tomorrow,
yes.
meaning Tuesday, is when Donald Trump is supposed to do the State of the Union, and this is not going to he's not going to be happy when he goes in there because there's going to be a lot of people that don't show up. There's talk of putting Epstein survivors in the seats of the Democrats that don't show up. This is not going to be a pleasant experience for Donald Trump. Then you throw in the fact that he just lost in the Supreme Court and nothing else is going well, and it's going to be 8, 9 o'clock at night, perfect sundowning time.
Yeah.
This is going to be a disaster.
Oh my God. Do you remember when State of the Union addresses were just boring shit?
You didn't even
Do you
watch them.
remember those days? You didn't
I'm
watch them.
watching this one.
Yeah, but I mean, but once MAGA showed up, they became just craziness. I
Well,
mean, you
there's
remember the
heckling
Biden
now
ones?
and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, you saw the Biden ones with all that bullshit
Yeah,
that they pulled. And then like when Democrats pulled it on Trump the other time, last time, they got all pissy.
yeah.
Well, yeah, goose gander. Sorry, but here's the thing: we know what he's going to say. We know it's just going to be a fucking pack of lies, from
Yeah.
the economy to tariffs to Epstein. I mean, he just announced what he announced on the plane. Yeah, I'm exonerated. I'm not in the Epstein files. The Epstein files showed me that I'm fine. I'm
You
not
know
in that.
the correct response to Donald Trump when he says he's exonerated in the Epstein files or the economy's great or the prices are going down. The best response to that, given who he is and his personality, is to laugh at the motherfucker.
Yeah.
He won't know what to do with that. Just laugh at the motherfucker. Now, the question is because it's going to be such a shit show and it's not the best timing for his mental state that he may pull out of it at the last moment. Now, of course, if he does pull out of it the last moment, he's going to have an excuse. He's not going to say he's sick or he's sundowning. That's why some people are thinking the bombing of Iran will take place today or tomorrow morning,
Yeah, I'm
so that
hearing
he can
that.
say, I'm too busy to do the State of the Union.
If I'm right, doesn't the Constitution require him to do it? That he
I
has to
believe it
report to
does.
Congress about the status of the union. I think it's in there as one of his duties. So he can do what he wants in Iran. He's still going to have to show up for the Congress. And the
Yeah.
Congress is not required. Here's the thing. With the first Trump administration, I knew it was bad, but you still want to respect the office of the president. Okay.
Yeah.
But now, as we're here now, he is taking that away.
Yeah.
If Democrats don't show up, they're not disrespecting the office of the president. They're disrespecting the man who is ruining the office of the presidency. The president was supposed to be the one who brought us all together, managed things, worked with Congress,
Yeah.
things, that's the thing. It is a juggling act. It's not, this is who I am. I'm the king. I'm going to do it. That's not what they wanted, our forefathers. That's not what they set up in the system. They did not want that. Sure as fuck
No.
didn't want someone setting up taxes on everybody. That's why we
No.
went to war the first time. And so if they all walk out, if everyone just says, I can't do this, and they say, well, why? I go, because it's the same. And it's not going to benefit us. And you're disrespecting the presidency, the president. No, I'm disrespecting. I don't want to watch him disrespect the presidency itself anymore. I can't do it. And that's the thing. Every time he talks, every time he brings up stuff in relationship as president of the United States, it disrespects the presidency. And that goes back to bad presidents. Okay.
Well, yeah, yeah, and people would say to me, don't you respect the presidency? Well, it's hard to do that now with Donald Trump in and the things he's doing. But I'll say it to you like this: I respect the presidency so much that I cannot watch somebody else disrespect the presidency, and that's exactly what he's doing.
I mean, you saw that whole bullshit on President's Day. I mean, again, more crap. That's
Yeah,
disrespect. That's disrespect to the presidency itself. Him acting like he did against the Supreme Court decision is disrespecting the presidency, okay? Because he's not following the law that's in the Constitution. And I don't know what is wrong with MAGA and Republicans. When did patriotism become not following the Constitution? I haven't figured that fucker out yet.
no, I haven't
From
either.
these people, because it doesn't benefit anybody. And it's frustrating for all of us because we're watching this spin out of control, and the only ones not thinking it's out of control are the people in power. And that's a fucking scary thing to do.
Well, I think they know it's going out of control. I think they just don't have the courage to do anything, or they're waiting until the last moment so they don't put themselves at risk with Donald Trump.
I don't know what Mike Johnson is going to do now. Okay, Mike.
I don't think he's going to be in the job very long. I think he's going to be gone.
He's going to have to figure out about the tariffs. What are you going to do about the tariffs? Okay, I mean, Congress has to act on that. What are you going to do about the War Powers Act? If he does this, what if he involves us in something so horrendous? What are Republicans going to say? They are holding on for dear life with the same bullshit. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they'll spin it and distract like they always do, no matter how badly. I mean, the whole idea that there were 3 Supreme Court justices that voted in favor of what Donald Trump wanted to do says it all, because that question was a constitutional question. Can he do whatever he wants? The Constitution very clearly says he can't. So what the fuck are these other 3 people reading? It's not about law.
I mean, Alito, Thomas are lost causes. I think Kavanaugh got in with that boys club. The worst thing that people say, Amy Coney Barrett, is she a religious psycho? Yes.
Yeah.
Is she a conservative? Yes. But when she got on the court, the problem with Alito, Thomas, and Kavanaugh is that they don't respect her because she's a woman.
Right.
They don't respect Sotomayor. They don't respect Ketanji Brown. And so they isolated her. And these are reports I've read. Okay. They isolated her. She wanted to get in and make her opinion said, don't worry about it. We'll write it for you. And she's thinking, no, I'm a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
And what happened is that the women came to her to reach out. Ideologically, they're far apart. But together, she started to understand that she doesn't need those assholes.
Right.
That she can stand on her own. Is she going to make decisions that we're not going to like? Yes. But you saw with this one and other ones, she's not following their script. She's not.
Well, here's what you have to understand about Alito and Clarence Thomas. It's not about law at all. They are absolutely, completely compromised.
Yes.
They're in it for themselves. They're in it for making money, and that's first and foremost on their mind. That's why they're a problem to have on the Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett probably isn't that thick because she's a woman. She probably doesn't have as many opportunities to be compromised financially. But Clarence Thomas and Alito are compromised. Yeah. They are criminals. They're corrupt. They shouldn't be on the court.
And I think that's coming. They're seeing, and I think what the Supreme Court is realizing. It's kind of funny that today we were watching Guillermo del Toro's version of Frankenstein, which follows the book. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's really worth it. It follows the book. It's not the Boris Karloff, no. Because the book is different than what you see in the Universal movies. Understand, the monster is not Frankenstein. Frankenstein, in the end, is the monster himself. His own hubris did that. He created the monster, and then he realized, that's not what I wanted. It's not perfect. So he tried to kill it, but that didn't work, and then the monster got revenge on him. What's going on right now with the Supreme Court, they kind of created this monster with the immunity decision. And now the monster, when they stood up and go, "Ooh, yeah, this is no, oh boy," and they tried to basically stop him, when the monster's loose, dudes. And I don't know how that's going to bode ill, how that's going to bode well for them, because the violent MAGA are already looking for heads. So
we'll given that we're coming toward the 2026 election in 8-9 months, knowing what we know about what's going to happen, do you expect to see the Supreme Court kind of pull back a little bit and try to balance things out? So because they're going to be in trouble after the 2026 election because they're going to have a Congress that does not support them?
Yeah, I think they are horrified at what they did to an extent. I think they saw the taxes thing. I think when the rubber meets the road, we're going to get a confirmation of whether or not they're pulling back is on their decisions of the 14th Amendment.
Birthright.
If they go Trump-wise, that's going to cause extreme chaos and extreme pain in this country, and that tells us everything we want to know about the Supreme Court. Because understand, Trump is close to with Stephen Miller, because this has all come from Stephen Miller. Oh, did you see his reaction to it?
I heard about it. Yeah.
God, it's like, what is wrong with him? Because he starts screaming about weird ass shit. Dude, what happened? What happened to you to make you such a hateful little prick?
He's emotionally broken and he's starting to lose it because, like Donald Trump and like all these other fucks, if you have the audacity to contradict them, he gets mad, and then he gets mad like that, thinking he can intimidate people to kowtow to him, but it's not going to work. Nobody respects Stephen Miller. No. Everybody hates Stephen Miller. He's a fucking joke, and if he thinks he's going to get any kind of job in politics once this is over, he's fooling himself. It won't. He'll be a pariah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that's going on with ICE and all that detentions, it's going to be laid at his feet. There will be a paper trail. There will people that will sell out later on to he did it, and they will sell him out. I don't think he's going to have a job in politics. I wonder if he's going to be free in the end.
Well, yeah. If there's anybody that could be indicted and prosecuted, it would certainly be him and Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi.
Right, and his thing is, it's like, We don't know. He is literally trying to convince Trump to write an executive order to detain legal immigrants, people who have gone through the system, okay, who have been here forever, so to have them picked up and detained while they reevaluate their immigration status, even though they've gone through the entire thing, the
Yeah.
entire process. That's his goal because he needs. I mean, these guys are. They arrested an elderly English couple near the Canadian border and put him in shackles for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because one visa was out. And the thing about it is, who is running these things? What draconian motherfucker is coming up with this? Where did they
Yeah.
find these border agents that think a 65-year-old British woman needs to be shackled to her arms and legs?
Yeah.
What is wrong with these people? I mean, I've seen pictures of like kids coming off in Los Angeles at the Roybal building in fucking shackles.
Yeah.
What sick fucks are you? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
We
It's pretty.
will find you. We are not going to put up with this. And we haven't
Yeah.
even talked about the consequences of Epstein, why Howard Lutkin is still walking around, motherfucker.
Well, and
I
then we
mean,
hear about there's documentation in there that specifically implicate Donald Trump, and it was serious enough that the FBI interviewed a couple times these
yeah,
people, put them in a 302 form, which legitimizes it, and Jeffrey Epstein even settled out of court with them. So there is some criminal activity there. Donald Trump's name is on it, but not only do they not investigate it, they're trying to pull it off the table and hide it from us. So that's a clear cut example of
yeah.
a very serious cover up.
And the thing about it is, I know that we talk about this ad nauseum. Let's be honest. Everyone talks about ad nauseum. We all point out the ridiculous incompetencies, like their food recalls going on right now, like for fried rice,
Yeah.
and it's huge. And I can't help to think they cut all these people through Doge. You can't tell me that that doesn't affect the food system.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and I mean the reactions of people right now on the street that are just, especially people get mad about nothing. These are all products of 10 years of this bullshit. Now, we are all worn the fuck out. I
Yeah.
know it. We're worn the fuck out. We see that you can go through and just see the atrocities that ICE is committing, the things that people say. Watch one CNN roundtable. I'm going, I don't, you know what? I just want to go to one of those roundtables with Scott, what is his name? Scott, um,
Yeah.
with a baseball bat. I'm sorry. I'm saying that because that's how frustrated I am with these guys. They don't live in reality. They don't. All right.
No.
And they
Scott
want
Jennings.
Scott Jennings. Like he was on there talking about the tariffs, and he said that Trump's reaction to tariffs were fine. He accepted the decision. And the guy sitting next to him going, well, you didn't see the same thing I saw.
No, shit, no.
And it's like, well, Will's advocating violence. No, it's just that in your mind, you literally want to go punish her on these guys because you don't know what else to say or do other than point out their shit. I watched these guys in Minneapolis. Fuck, that's crazy. That's brave crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and it's happening in other cities around thing. You were talking about Philadelphia with TJ.
Yeah.
They haven't really started. They're still around the suburbs,
Are
Philadelphia.
they
They
out
haven't
there?
started. They're in the suburbs. I've heard in some areas of Pennsylvania. Some
Wow.
people have said that when I said they were in suburbs of Pennsylvania, of Philadelphia. I mean, they're in Los Angeles in some of the suburbs. They tried to go into Compton once. That didn't work well for them. But they're, I mean, they're in fucking Alaska, where there's no. This case is sad. They're in Anchorage, Alaska. These ICE agents, they find this family that has some kind of asylum thing on one of the peninsula islands, like 4 hours away, and they go there and pick up to bring him back to Anchorage to detain him. They go out of their way for that. Why? Because they're worth $10,000 a body. These aren't fucking law enforcement. They're fucking slave catchers.
That's pretty much true.
This is, and so what I'm trying to say is that it's tiresome, and those of us who care, we go ahead.
Well, we're coming to the end, and I want you to comment on something as we're wrapping things up.
Sure.
Over and above whatever else we've been talking to on Thursday. Hillary Clinton is going to testify in front of the Oversight Committee, and on Friday, Bill Clinton is going to testify in front of the Oversight Committee. Now, they tried to not testify, or at least testify in public, but when they finally agreed to it, it sounded like Hillary Clinton was just fucking pissed, and she says, "Okay, bring that motherfucker on." What do you think is going to happen on those testimonies?
They're going to be in private and not to be public.
I think they're going to be in private, but there's supposed to be video of it and a transcription. Whether we'll see it or not, I don't know. Probably not, because I think with Hillary, she's got nothing to lose, and she's smart as shit and mean, so it's going to go badly.
Hillary has got freaking. I would say she has an axe to grind, but there's not a big enough grinder for that axe. She is, as you said, sharp. She knows her shit. And if they're going to come after her for anything, she's going to rip them a new asshole.
And I think Trump's name's going to come up a lot. I think Trump's name's going to come up a lot.
Trump's going to come up a lot. She's an attorney. Okay, she's an attorney. She was a senator. She was Secretary of State. She's used to reading documents. I will guarantee you she's gone through the majority of the Epstein files.
Yeah.
I will guarantee you when they put that down, they start asking her questions about Bill Clinton. She goes, "That's nice. Let me tell you about Donald Trump. That's on this page, this section. This is what is there." She will do that. She did that when Benghazi. She'll do it now. She did with those email things. I
will say this. I think Bill Clinton, on the other hand, is going to go Les Wexner and say, "I don't know. I don't recall. I didn't do that." If he's
smart, he would.
That's probably what he's going to do. But Hillary wasn't at Epstein Island, and she's not really implicated in this stuff. It's just about Donald Trump wanting to embarrass her. And we know how it went when he tried to embarrass Letitia James and James Comey. That didn't work out too well, or even Jack Smith for that matter. They just look stupid. And I expect that's what will happen with Hillary Clinton.
I mean, the Jack Smith thing, he went in private and he still went out there and goes, "Oh, by the way, this is what I told him." Yeah. And here's the thing. We've been gotten used to Jack Smith talking. And when he says, "Yeah, this is what I said," there's no dramatization. There's no extra little things. He just lays out the facts. I mean, basically, he's Jack Webb of legal circles. Just the facts, ma'am.
And that's the problem with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's not in office anymore. She's not an attorney working anymore. She's angry. She predicted everything that's happening now. She's just pissed, and she's got a sharp tongue, and she's not going to be held back like Jack Smith was or any of these other people. She's going to let this motherfucker loose, and it's going to be a problem for those Republicans.
And also, I mean, Jim Jordan, Jesus God, why do Ohioans pick the worst people? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it. And now, I mean, he's going to be there just what? He's going to go after Hillary Clinton? I think you tried it once and she'll bite you in the ass. What is it going to be? It's just going to be another waste of our money trying to deflect from what Trump is in the Epstein files by saying that only Democrats were there. No, not only Democrats. The Secretary of Commerce is knee deep in Epstein, and no one's bringing that up. Okay? Yeah. No one's bringing it up. And he still has a job. Meanwhile, in the rest of the world, they're trying to clean house. We're keeping this asshole. And it's just, it wears on your soul because most of us are ethical. We're not perfect. But when it comes to stuff like that, we don't want around, and we're not going to excuse it. But
No.
yeah, but here's the thing: the more they try to distract us, the more they try to do. He could bomb the shit out of Iran. It's still not going to stop what's going to happen. They really believe that if we do into war, everyone's going to back the president. Are you crazy?
Well, and it's like
No,
they put things out on Friday thinking, oh, we'll settle down over the weekend. We got 24-hour fucking news service here. We got phones in everybody's hands. Those old tricks about going into the weekends, that doesn't work
no, it
anymore.
doesn't work anymore. I mean, there has to be. There's all this. We're doing this on Sunday. The Sunday news shows are out there. These guys are talking shit. It's in the feed every fucking day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, I will say this for all the stuff we say to bring it to your attention, because you should be aware of it. And people like you and I will talk shit. Some people can't talk shit. They think shit. And
Yeah,
when we say it, they go, "Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, we got you." All
yeah.
right. But the thing got to remember, and I think a lot of the big creators around us will say, "There's an extinction. This is the end of this thing. After all this time, we're coming to
It
the end.
is. Yeah, I
Will
agree.
there will there be a bunch of collateral damage and probably a lot of ruins for us to fix? Yes, but
Oh, it's gonna be a mess.
I cannot see Trump surviving all this. How's he going to survive, literally and figuratively? How the
He's
Republican
not.
Party are going to survive, literally and figuratively? They can talk all this shit they want, but we're on to them now. And the people they depend on are on to them because they're losing everything. And we haven't even gotten to the worst of the economy yet. They're
Right,
trying to sell us.
right.
You know what I mean? So when I tell everyone when we talk this shit, we talk it because it needs to be said. Be aware of it. This is no politics. This is about life and death. But it's coming to an end as long as we keep aware of what's going on.
And
So
keep
have some
pushing.
hope in that. Yeah, have some hope in that.
Yeah.
It,
No, I
it
do.
don't.
I do have hope of that because I do
Yeah.
see that I see Donald Trump and everybody around him spiraling the toilet, and pretty soon it's going to be time to flush. And we're lucky it won't fucking clog. But with Donald Trump involved, who the fuck knows? I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer
Mhm.
podcast. Will, thanks for coming in, starting
Right.
another week, another shit show week. Tell
Yeah.
people where they can find you.
Again, TikTok RJ127 says 64, but RJ12764 TikTok. Binder 38 US on Substack and on YouTube. Like I said before, Substack, I have a paid subscription. If you want to join, that's great. That would help me out quite a bit for my work. If you want to send me an email, it's KUMQUAT, the number 6 at outlook.com. And I've gotten a few texts from people. Thank you for reaching out. You can text me at 470-236-2403 if you have a comment, text, want me to address something. I have no problem with that. I've got a few comments from people. It's kind of cool when that pops
Yeah,
up out of
it is
nowhere.
kind of it is it is kind of cool.
So, but yeah, reach out there. We're going to keep doing this. And next week will be like every other week. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, exactly. For those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.